Today we are talking about Pinterest marketing. Specifically, I'm going to be going over my exact growth strategy that I use to gain 150,000 followers and thousands of clicks every single month to my website. This is meant to be a very step-by-step guide that is going to teach you exactly how to grow your own Pinterest account and in turn bring in more sales, revenue, leads, whatever your goal is with Pinterest. At the end, I'm even going to be sharing my Pinterest account audit checklist, so be sure to stick around for that. Before we jump in on how to grow on Pinterest and how to use Pinterest for marketing, I want to briefly talk about why you should consider using Pinterest. There are three main reasons why you should consider using Pinterest. The first being is that Pinterest is both a social media platform and a search engine. And this 1-2 punch combo makes it very powerful. When people go to Pinterest, they are oftentimes actually searching for a solution to a problem, whether they're searching for a recipe, how to build something, how to do a specific workout. And this search intent makes it very powerful because not only can you get discovered through the social media part of Pinterest, but you can also get discovered through the SEO part of Pinterest as well. And as a result, this brings me to the point number 2 why I like Pinterest so much is that Pinterest is an evergreen platform. And what I mean by that is with most social media platforms, when you post something, that post has a shelf life of usually 24 to 48 hours. You think of platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. When you post that, typically your followers see it for 24 to 48 hours, but then it gets buried in your feed. With Pinterest, because it is a search engine, when people are going through and searching those things, you have the chance to show up number 1 in that number 1 or 2 spot and get traffic to your website for years to come. And the third reason why I love Pinterest is there are a lot of people using Pinterest. Last stat that I saw was over 431 million, and that is consistently growing every single year. Now, all that being said, I do want to be honest with you. Not every single business is going to do that well on Pinterest. There are certain niches, certain business types that do really well on Pinterest, and there are certain business types that it's a little bit harder. So I want to give you a real quick way to identify whether your business should be on Pinterest or not. So we're just going to come over here to Pinterest and we are going to search for our specific niche. So let's say, for instance, you want to make sure that this is on all pins instead of just your pins. We are in the basket weaving niche. Let's say that, and we want to search for this specific thing. So we're going to do basket. And you're going to search there. And what you want to do, instead of just having it search this way, you want to actually come over here and you want to click profiles. What that's going to do is it's going to show you a bunch of profiles that are in your specific niche. So you can see this one has almost 17,000 followers, this one 60,000 followers, this one 80,000 followers, this one 44,000 followers. So when you go through and type in a keyword related to your niche and you see that there are people who have followings on Pinterest and are getting good engagement, it's probably a really good sign to you that your business can be successful on Pinterest. Now, let's say that you search this and you find that there's very little engagement on the followers, or there's accounts that have very little following for your niche. That doesn't necessarily mean that Pinterest is a bad option for you. It just means that it's less of a secure thing, right? It's more of a bet. It's you might be blazing the trail inside of Pinterest, which could be a good thing because it means you might have less competition. But if you are curious on the best niches for Pinterest, here is a quick list of some of the top niches on Pinterest right now. So now you know why you should be using Pinterest and you have an idea on whether your business should be on Pinterest or not. It's now time to go through and actually create your account. Now, when you create your account, you want to make sure you create a business account. And in order to create a business account, you're just going to want to go to Pinterest.com, obviously, and then go to sign up. From here on the bottom, you're going to notice this is right now going through and having you create a personal account. You want to switch down here to create a free business account. And there are a few different reasons why you want to do a business account, but there's mainly one big reason. And the main big reason is that with a business account, you have access to the insights and analytics. If you just do a personal account, you won't be able to see what's working and which posts are actually bringing in traffic and the impressions and outbound clicks and etc. That's the biggest reason why you want to use a business account. One of the questions that I often get when I tell people to do a business account is they say, isn't that going to mean that Pinterest is going to bog down my account, or I'm not going to be seen as much because I'm a business? And my answer to that is simply no. Every Pinterest account that I start is always a business account, and I've never had a problem with this. And if you're wondering, well, shoot, I already went through and created a Pinterest account, but it's a personal one, no worries there either. It's super easy to convert over or to switch. If you already have your Pinterest account here, you could open it up and then you'll click on this little button here, go to settings, and then you will go to account management. From here, you can see it will say convert to a business account. Click that and it will convert over. You could also convert back to a personal account if you ever wanted to, but I don't recommend that, like I said, because if you are in a personal account, you'll notice that you don't have the analytics tab up here or the ads. And the analytics has lots of cool things that you can do inside of here, including overviews, audience insights, and trends. And now that you have your business account created, you will want to go through and do some simple things like adding your headline in your description. In order to do that, if you just come back over to your profile, and you'll hit edit profile here. You can go through and add the name of your account, the about section, and then you can fill out all this other information, including claiming your website, your username, and so on. Basically, when you're going through and adding your name, it's good to sprinkle in some keywords in there related to your niche, but don't keyword stuff, basically. Make it a cohesive sentence and something that when somebody visits your profile, they know exactly what your profile is about. Also, this goes without saying, be sure to add a profile picture and also a cover image. If you come back over here, you'll want to add a cover image that just captures people's attention. In order to do that, you can just click on this little pencil button there. So now you have a solid foundation set up. Let's actually talk about how to grow your account and how to do Pinterest marketing. So for today, I'm going to pretend that I am in the fitness niche, and I want to kind of walk you through real life examples here on how I would go about setting up an account like this. So when you're first setting up your account, and of course, use your imagination for whatever niche you are in. This is going to apply to all different niches. Essentially, this is the account structure when it comes to a Pinterest account. You have your actual Pinterest account, and then inside of that account, you have something called boards. Now, those boards you can look at almost like groups. They are group topics of different things, and you can see here in this example for a fitness account, you have a group of women's workout routines. You have things like men's workout routines. You have couples workouts, ab exercises, and then every single Pinterest account, I always recommend having a general bucket. One that where no matter what you pin, you could put this into this bucket, just in case you have random one-off pins that don't necessarily fit into one of those groups. For instance, here you could have a board that's just fitness. That way, whatever you post could fit in there. For example, on my DIY account, one of the boards that I have is just DIY projects. So whatever projects I do, I can put in there if I had to. Now, if you aren't sure exactly which boards you should be doing for your account, I'm going to quickly show you a fast way to figure out which boards you should be creating. So for this, for instance, we are in the workout niche, fitness niche. If you just come over here to Pinterest and you go through and type in workout, you're going to notice that Pinterest is going to start suggesting, and make sure you're in all pins because it's not suggesting. I'm like, why isn't it suggesting? You want to type in workout, and you're going to notice that Pinterest is going to start auto-suggesting different things. What this is telling us is that these are things that people are often searching for inside of Pinterest, and chances are these are things that you want to be creating boards for. Now, obviously, you can see this only gave us a list of like 6 or 7, which isn't a ton. There are paid tools that you can do to make this faster that I'll talk about later, but this is like kind of the free, fast way to do it. But if you wanted more, what you could do is you could go workout and then do space A, and then you'll see now it's doing everything with workout and then space that starts with an A. Now you have more keywords coming through. You can go through and do B, do the exact same thing. Now you see workout Barbie, workout bullet journal, workout background, and you can essentially do that same thing all the way through A through Z to get ideas for boards that will be applicable to your niche. And a little spoiler alert, this same thing works for your keywords and your pins as well. But going back to over here, once you've gone through and identified the boards that you want to at least have 5 to 10 boards on your profile. The reason for this is if somebody goes through and visit your profile, they're not going to follow you if you only have one board and your profile doesn't look complete. So I recommend having at least 5 to 10 boards. Obviously, the more, the better. And I'm going to show you exactly how to go through and build those boards here in just a second, but I do want to cover pins real quick before we move on to that point. So now let's talk about pins. When it comes to pins go inside of boards, and I recommend having at least 15 to 20 pins inside of each board, and I recommend having a mix of all different types of pins. Now, when it comes to pin types, I forgot one pin type. Let me edit that real quick. There we go. Now we have all the pin types. When it comes to pin types, there are basically 5 different pin types that you can put inside of your boards. You have your standard image pins, your video pins, your idea pins. You can repin other people's pins, and then you have your product pins. And don't worry, I'm going to be talking about the difference between all these pins in more depth later, but I just wanted you to have a high-level overview of what you're going to be building inside of Pinterest. These are the 5 different types of pins that you can put inside of boards, but depending on your business objective, the type of pins that you put inside of your boards may vary, and you may want to have a different mix compared to it's not one size fits all, basically. So before you start posting your pins, you need to ask yourself what your business goal is. When it comes to business goals on Pinterest, there are 4 different buckets that I've kind of identified. Is your goal to sell more products? Is your goal to generate more leads? Is your goal to drive more traffic to your site? Or is your goal to grow your audience and brand on Pinterest? Depending on which goal you identify with, your strategy on which pins you do might vary slightly. For example, if your goal is to sell more products, you're probably going to want to have a heavier focus on product pins. If you are curious what product pins are, I'll leave a link to this down below. But basically what they are is they are enriched with metadata and formatted to let people know that they are shoppable, containing things like your price, availability, product title, things like that. So you're actually wanting to sell something. And in order to bring that data in, basically it's through your catalog or rich pins. We're not going to get into how to set this up in this video. That will be in a video further down, but you're going to want to utilize heavily product pins because you're actually wanting to sell something. Also, you are probably going to want to utilize video pins to highlight product features and benefits. The key performance indicator for you, I think this is really important. I think a lot of people start Pinterest and they don't know what their main metric that they should be looking at is. And as a result, sometimes they focus on the wrong things. If you are looking to sell more products, the metric that you should be looking at should not be followers, impressions, or even outbound clicks. It should actually be how much revenue or how many sales Pinterest is generating for your platform. So that is your key performance indicator. If your goal is to generate more leads, I would recommend using video pins to educate people about your services and build trust. Think things like case studies, social proof, and also a mix of standard pins or image pins with strong CTAs to drive people to your website and fill out your form for the lead. Your main KPI or key performance indicator, of course, is going to be leads. Now, if your goal is to drive more traffic to your site, this is the bucket that I fall into. You want to focus on standard pins that have strong CTAs and enough value to get people to want to click onto your website. And then you want to use idea pins to generate awareness about your website. I think for this, and probably with all these different goals, you want to understand what your target demographic is searching for and create pins related to those keywords. The main KPI for this is how many outbound clicks Pinterest can give you or how much traffic you can generate. And last but certainly not least, if your goal is to grow your audience or brand awareness, then I would recommend going as hard as possible on video pins and idea pins. Right now, Pinterest is really pushing the idea pins. And so it's a very quick and effective growth hack to grow your account if you are mostly focused on followers and impressions. So I did mention that you want to put at least 15 to 20 pins in each of these boards at least, but I do want to give you an idea on how many you should actually be doing for your specific board real quick. So if we come over here to Pinterest, this will be a quick way for you to understand how many pins you actually need to put inside of your board. So if you come over here, let's say that we are looking for our board couples workouts. We're going to click that there. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to filter this and instead of all pins, we're going to do boards. And what you're going to notice here is that you're going to be able to see how many pins each of these boards have that are ranking in basically the top first page. So you can see here the actual number one only has 12 pins. The next one 10, 20, this one has like 500, this one 27, but you kind of see a pattern, right? So if you wanted to rank your board for this specific topic, chances are it looks like most boards that are ranking in this area, they have somewhere around 10 to 20 pins. Now this is a less competitive term. It seems like this would actually be a really good board to make. But if you go through and actually do maybe a more competitive term, say fitness, and we are only looking at boards, you're going to see here that now fitness, and it looks like fits like outfits is pulling up here too, but you can see fitness almost 10,000 pins here, 500 pins here, 900 pins here, 800 here, 1200 here. So that gives you an idea of how many, depending on what board you're wanting to rank, how many pins you're probably going to need inside of that board. So take 15 to 20 kind of as a general guideline, but I would always recommend going through and actually searching the board inside of here to understand, okay, if I really expect to rank my board for fitness, I'm probably going to need close to, around 500 to 700 pins realistically in there. And I know what you're thinking, that is a ton of pins, but don't worry, there are ways to expedite this process. I'm gonna be talking about tools that I use to make pins even faster, but when it comes to creating boards, you can also repin other people's pins inside of your board. So I'm gonna show you how to go through and create a board and kind of my process for that. So here we are inside of Pinterest. This is just a dummy account kind of that I have. Basically what you're gonna wanna do is once you have your profile done, you're gonna come over here to saved. And then we're going to hit this little plus button, and then you want to create a board. We're going to name this, we're going to stick with the couples workout. When you're building this board, there is the option to keep it a secret, which means it won't show up publicly on your profile. For this, we're just going to keep it public though. So once you go through and do that, you're going to notice that Pinterest now is going to automatically recommend save some pins to your new board. Now, this is other people's pins that they've gone through and done, but the reason why Pinterest is suggesting this to you is because most likely these are pins that have done really well in this particular niche. And so what this allows you to do is kind of leverage other people's pins inside of your board to get more pins inside of your board. Now, there may be some businesses where they just can't do this based on their brand or different things. They don't want to show other people's pins inside of their board. But if you are willing to do something like this, it is a little bit of a growth hack. This is something that I actually did a ton, is I would go through and basically get a bunch of pins inside of a board. Once the board started ranking, then I would start putting my own pins in that board and moving my own pins up to the top so that those were getting the clicks and traffic and things like that. So let me show you what I mean. So now it gives us this suggestion of all these different couple workouts pins. So you could go through and save all of these, basically put them inside of your board. Now, if somebody goes through into your board and clicks on these pins and goes to that website, they're going to go to these people's websites. So that's something to keep in mind, but this gives you an opportunity to have a board that's ranking and grow a little bit faster. So you can see just like this in real time, I now already have like 20 or 30 pins inside of my board. So you go through and add as many as you'd like, but we're just gonna hit done for now. Then what you're gonna wanna do is come in over here to edit this board. Make sure you go through and give this board a description, sprinkle in some keywords inside there, and then also add the board cover. I think a lot of people underestimate how important the board cover is because the first image that they see is what gets people to click inside of the board. So be very thoughtful on what the board cover might be on this. But we're gonna hit done here. Oh, and if you're curious what the board cover looks like, if you come over here, this is the board cover. So you can see it's basically the first image that comes through. There's one or two, is this image right here. So just a heads up there. And then now we have a board with basically 20 different pins that aren't our own. So you may be asking, what good does that do you? Well, now what we can do is actually just go through and create our own specific pin. So in order to do that, you can come over here to create. Now, if you want to create a standard pin or a video pin, you'll hit create pin here. If you wanted to create an idea pin, you would click idea pin here. I'm going to show you how to create a standard pin and then an idea pin as well. So we're going to go through and create here. And here's where we can go through and upload that image. I'm going to go through and actually create a real pin here and show you how that works. But here's basically my simple process when it comes down to creating pins. I do the keyword research to understand which keywords I want to use inside of my pins. Then I create the relevant boards, which we've gone through and done step 1 and step 2. Then I create the pins on Canva if I'm looking for a high quality kind of pin. And then, but if I'm looking for quantity, like I have a board that I'm wanting to rank that needs thousands of pins, that's where I'll go to Tailwind. It's not to say that Tailwind doesn't create quality pins as well, but you can create hundreds of pins really quickly with Tailwind. And then from there, I'll go through and schedule the post typically, but we're going to go through that whole process. So we're going to come over here to Canva. And if you're wanting to create your pin, I do recommend having a Canva account. A free account will get you by, but I personally like to use the pro account, which is a paid version, because it gives you access to more templates and also allows you to schedule different things. But for now, a free account will get you by. So we're going to come over here to create design. And then from here, all you need to do is type in Pinterest. And you can see it gives you all these different formats. We're gonna go with this Pinterest 1080 by 920. And then also later we'll talk about this Pinterest idea pin as well. So we're gonna click on that. And you can see Pinterest makes this incredibly easy to go through and make these different pins. So you can see there's all sorts of different templates here. If you wanted to search specifically for one with like workout, you could search that. And now all of a sudden I have a template of, I don't even know how many, quite a bit of different pins that I can use and edit for Pinterest. Now you'll notice that some of these have this little crown right here. That means you only have access to this if you have the paid version of Canva. So you can see there's a lot of free ones, but having the pro version does give you a little bit more templates basically. But we are looking for a couples workout kind of image. So I'm just gonna go through and grab this one right here. This looks like a nice couple going for a run. And you can see with Canva, and they make it really easy to be able to go and drag and drop, add different images. You can go through and change this website to yourwebsite.com. It makes it really easy to go through and create those pins. Now I'm not gonna go through and edit this thing completely. You kind of get the idea, but once you're done getting your pin to exactly how you want it to look, then you wanna go through and name it the keyword that you're going for. In this case, we're gonna call this couples workouts. This is just one of the simple little SEO tips. Then from here, one of the great things about Canva is you can come through and share it, and you can either download this image or you can go through and share it to social or schedule it out basically. Scheduling is one of those pro features. This is typically what I'll do is I'll actually go through and make a bunch of different Canva pins and then schedule them onto Pinterest, or you could share it to social directly to your Pinterest account just by clicking here, and then it will ask for the board name, title, description, and then you can add your destination link there. And last time I talked about this, some people asked, is Canva an approved partner with Pinterest? And yes, they are an approved partner, so you have no worries about connecting your account to there. But for this example, instead of scheduling it, we're just going to simply download this image, download this pin right here. And now we have that pin, so we can click here, go through and actually upload this image. So we have our couples workout right here. And then you want to make sure that it's adding to the correct board. So here you can get an idea of all the different boards. This is going to go to the couples workout, which is where we want it. Then you want to go through and add a title. So let's pretend that this is 10 fun couples workout. So you see how I have the keyword in there that I'm wanting to rank for, but it's not just the keyword, it's kind of sprinkling it inside of there. And then you go through and obviously add a description as well, where you're kind of sprinkling in the keywords. I don't recommend having this super long. As you see, Pinterest generally recommends around 100 characters. So when you can go through and do that, I do recommend that. So you can see here, I just quickly went through and wrote something out. Planning workouts can be hard, especially as a couple. In this post, we walk through 10 couples workout ideas for all fitness levels. And then you can go through and add your destination link. Here, we're just going to say that this is going to Mozo House, even though it's not at all. I'm gonna have to delete, I'll delete this after. But you can see, you can go through and publish this immediately, or you can publish it later. You can go through and publish it later in Pinterest, but do keep note that it only allows you to publish it basically 2 weeks in advance. So you can see it's January 7th. The latest I can post this is January 19th. I can't go anything past that date. So keep that in mind. Most of the time when I'm posting in Pinterest, I just publish it immediately. So we go through and publish this, and our pin has been created. Let's go through and see our pin. You can see it right here. So you have our link right here, the headline, and then also the description that we went through and did. And then you can go through and here's where people can comment and also save this to their boards essentially. If we go to our actual profile and you look here under saved, you'll see that now under couples workouts, our pin is inside of that board. Now, one important thing to note is that when you go through and set these pins, you can go through and move them so you make sure that your pins are on the top. So it automatically puts the most recent pin up top here. But let's say you went through and added maybe this pin, you repinned somebody else's stuff because you found something that you liked and thought would perform well. You could then go through and move your pin up to the top. So when people click on these boards, they're seeing your stuff first. So this is something that I do really often. For example, if you look at one of the boards on my DIY account, you can see modern living room here. If you look, the pins at the top are all basically, for the most part, mine, but this one isn't, this one isn't, this one isn't, but all these ones up top are. And then down below, you'll see that there are a lot of different pins that are other people's. So it's making the board look bigger, but most of the time when people are coming to these boards, they're seeing at least my stuff first. So that's how you go through and create a standard pin, but you may be asking yourself, how do you go through and create an idea pin? And what is the difference between a video pin and an idea pin? So both idea pins and video pins utilize video, but the difference is a video pin actually allows you to embed a link into that pin. An idea pin does not, but the advantage that the idea pin has is that it will show up in the watch inside of Pinterest on mobile. And this is a fast way to grow. So this is where it comes back to your business objectives. If you're just wanting brand awareness and people to follow you, creating idea pins is better. But if you're actually wanting to get people off Pinterest onto your website or something, a video pin might do better. But in order to create a video pin, all you would need to do is come over here and create pin and then do the exact same thing that we did here, but do a video instead. If you wanted to create an idea pin, you would come over here and it's a little bit different of a process. You can see, you can go through and create a new one, and then you go and upload your videos here, or you can add up to 20 images and it kind of turns it into a little bit of a slideshow. If you're curious on a fast way to create idea pins, once again, I recommend coming over here to Canva and coming to create and then idea pins. You'll notice that Canva does a great job on giving you a lot of different templates as well, depending on what your niche is. Let's say that we wanted to talk about this wellness tips right here. You can go through and you'll see that there's 4 different slides that you can go through and do as images, or if you wanted a video, you can see that this is kind of more of a video type format where it goes through and actually kind of has motion going on there. And then you could go through that exact same process to post those idea pins. And to give you an idea on why I recommend this, if you're really wanting to grow your account and get impressions, if you look here at the analytics for my account, for my actual Pinterest account, you'll see that the top pins, so this is the top pins by impressions over the last 30 days. The top ones is the format is an idea pin, video, idea, video, idea, a video. So it's like a mix between those two. But I can tell you that the one, like the standard pins like this, these are the ones that bring in the traffic to my website. So I've actually started moving away from posting less video and idea pins because it's been growing my account, but it hasn't been bringing in as much traffic as I was like, and moving towards these standard pins that actually bring in a lot of the outbound clicks. But I truly do believe it's a combination of repinning other people's content, creating video pins, idea pins, and standard pins that allows you to grow the fastest. Now, earlier in the video, we talked about how sometimes some of these boards that you want to rank for will take up to, 1,000 pins and things like that. So I do want to talk about some of the tools that I personally use to really crank out pins and get things done a little bit faster in case you are curious. So the tools that I currently use for my Pinterest setup basically is I broke it out into 2 buckets. Tools that, one that you for sure need, and then tools that are nice to have. And some of these tools are paid. So the tool that you for sure need is Canva, and we talked about that and why that's important. Tools that I do recommend is Canva Pro, because as you saw, it gives you access to more templates and the scheduling feature and much more. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. Another tool that is awesome if you want to create a massive amount of pins is Tailwind. They have a free version that allows you to create a certain amount of pins every month, but then the paid version allows you to create more, obviously. So Tailwind is an awesome way. Basically, you just go through and put in a URL, and it can go through and crawl the images from that blog and create a bunch of different pins for you. I'll be having a full tutorial on Tailwind later, but that's another tool that I use. Wrapping things up, if you want to do keyword research faster or competitive research faster, I do recommend Pin Inspector. The great thing about that is it is only just a one-time fee. It's not something you have to pay monthly. And then also I have been experimenting hiring people on Fiverr to go through and create pins for me. It's a fast way to create 50 or 100 pins essentially. It might not be for everybody, but I have really enjoyed working with some of the people on Fiverr. Finally, I do occasionally use Jasper AI when I have a writing block and I want to go through and write descriptions or headlines for my pins even faster. So there's links to all those down below. They are of course affiliate links, and if you do use them, they do support the channel. So I do appreciate that. And I did want to also share share my Pinterest account audit checklist with you as well. This breaks it down into things that you should be doing at the account level, the boards, and the pins. You can get a free copy of this down below in the description as well. So if you're serious about taking your Pinterest account to the next level, I do recommend checking that out. But that is everything that I have. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to get your first 1,000 followers on Pinterest, I do recommend checking out this video right here. If you want to learn how to create pins that actually go viral inside of Pinterest, I recommend checking out this video right here, and we'll see you in the next video.